In question 5 we're given the following diagram, which we're told shows part of the nitrogen cycle. We're then asked which of our numbered arrows, 1 through 7, shows denitrification. Now in part this question is a factual recall question, recalling that the denitrification process is the conversion of nitrates into nitrogen gas by denitrifying bacteria. Now, obviously in the actual exam, you might not be able to immediately recall this, and the best thing in that case is to work through the rest of the diagram and think about the parts of the nitrogen cycle you can identify, and then that can leave a label behind that you can identify as your answer. So let's start with the top of the diagram, which is nitrogen gas, which is converted into ammonium and nitrates. Now you should be able to identify this process as nitrogen fixation. And something that will help you remind you that this is nitrogen fixation is that there are two different pathways, and this presumably is referring to the most common pathway, which involves nitrogen fixing bacteria which are found in the soil and in root nodules, which converts nitrogen gas into ammonium ions. But there's also atmospheric nitrogen fixation, which converts nitrogen gas into nitric oxides, which can then be converted into nitrates. So that's atmospheric and bacterial nitrogen fixation. Moving through, you should be able to identify or recall that the pathway that uses nitrites as an intermediary is nitrification. So nitrites, think nitrification. So these two pathways, 6 and 7, involve nitrifying bacteria in the soil. Moving on, we can see that the conversion of protein into ammonium is the process of decomposition or ammonification. Now this is something that you can think of quite intuitively. Protein, which will be present in plants and animals, well, the way that you get from protein into ammonia would be through death and decomposition. And that's conducted by saprotrophic bacteria in the soil. And the conversion of nitrates into proteins, well, we know that nitrates are essentially just a constituent of protein molecules, so that's a process of assimilation. And if you were to identify all of these processes, you would think intuitively that the denitrification process would be the removal of nitrogen from the soil, which is done by nitrates converting into nitrogen gas. So our answer is option 1, or which relates to answer A.